Jewish Family Service of Utah was originally founded in 1872 as the Hebrew Women's Benevolent Society. Its original goal was to relieve the destitute by serving Jewish transients. As the organization's title morphed from the original name to Jewish Relief Society to the present Jewish Family Service, its goals and purposes have continued to expand. Here are some of the many programs that JFS offers: the Safety Net Program for Emergency Assistance, Caregiver Connection, Music and Memory, volunteer opportunities, senior care, and counseling. And here are some of the many faces that provide and facilitate these programs: staff members and interns, volunteers, honorees, and supporters.
I think, just like everything else, you support what gives you strength and nurtures you. Jewish Family Services is sort of the helping hand, or I call it the social worker of the community.
Counseling is the cornerstone of JFS, as it's one of the few organizations on the Wasatch Front that offers therapy on a sliding fee scale, regardless of one's insurance coverage or ability to pay.
She said, "I've told you more things than I've told anybody, maybe ever." And I have to say, as someone who's been a social worker for 1,000 years, that made my heart feel real good.
This is a man who has no family or friends really around. He has one son, but he's in prison, so he's quite isolated socially.
We got a crisis call on a Friday morning. She had done some cancer blood work, and she knew that the results were going to be disturbing.
He had a hard time admitting that he needed help and didn't want a lot of help, and really sort of kept me at an arm's length distance.
And as has often been my experience, she started out with saying, this is what I'm calling about, but then it turned out there were a whole lot more things that were going on in her life that were upsetting.
One of the most important things we've been able to do for him is provide him with a volunteer who helps him transport. So he goes to the grocery store, he gets to go to doctor's appointments, and the volunteer also helps with things like writing letters and reading his mail, things that are difficult for him because he has multiple sclerosis and has a lot of different cognitive and physical challenges.
My name is Hindi Friedman, and I'm the care coordinator at Jewish Family Service. The care coordinator does many things, but one of the things that has become really popular has been the lunch bunches. And it started because there were several people in the community who had lost their wives. And so I went to Ellen and asked her if I could do a little widowers lunch bunch group. Shortly thereafter, the widows asked me if I would start a group for them, and I started a group for the widows, and that group filled up very quickly. And that group is really important because most of the widows need transportation, and so we utilize a lot of our wonderful volunteers here at Jewish Family Service. I don't go out and solicit people. It's usually people who recommend other people who they think, or they call me at Jewish Family Service and say, "I hear you have a lunch bunch."
The lunch bunch has provided me with more friends, people I wouldn't have met.
Everybody has an angel, and I thought, I have Fran for my angel. She has helped, She has helped me when I've been lonely. She's made me more Jewish. I have never gone to so many Friday night services. So if it wasn't for the lunch brunch, I wouldn't be happy in the state of Utah. which I am now.
After my mother died, my dad stayed at the Wellington and was alone. He was over 90, and I think it was Betty Yanowitz who suggested that he would be a good person for the Lunch Bunch. So he did join, and he really enjoyed it. I gave him a chance to just be with guys, and they were all World War II veterans, and they were all widowers, so they had things in common, and one of the gentlemen picked him up each time, and sometimes they even invited my sister and I to come to lunch with them.
I felt my life was saved once through medicine, and I think my life was saved again when I went through the counseling, because I really needed help dealing with, I'm a disabled physician, I'm a person, and now what do I do with my life? I trained as a neurologist and earned a neurology degree, and I was in my third year of medical school. I had a grand mal seizure out of nowhere and ended up in the emergency room with someone standing over me saying, "We think it's a tumor."
After an eventual diagnosis of an aggressive, malignant brain tumor, Terry underwent 2 surgeries, radiation therapy and chemotherapy.
After the surgery, after I recovered from that, did chemotherapy for a year, graduated from medical school, and proceeded on to earn my degree and earn a postdoctorate degree in neurology. So my life was on track, I thought. But by the time I finished my residency, I noticed I was having a lot of problems from the radiation affecting my thought process, so I was unable to actually function in some of the higher ways I needed to complete my career and start my career. So obviously what I thought was going to be my life was no longer my life. I was alive and happy to be alive, but my career was over. And I was having a lot of hard time being so in control my whole life in medicine and my career. I just couldn't let control of that I was anxious or depressed. I just couldn't deal with it. And I was just unable to even recognize it. And I knew I needed someone to sit down with me and let me understand, even though I was a physician, as a patient, what is it? What is anxiety? What is depression? And how do you deal with it? That's how I came across the facility, and it's been amazing. And working with a counselor at JFS changed my life in that I needed help learning skills of life and how to deal with the stresses of life, with anxiety, with decision making. I couldn't even get up in the morning, and I was having a lot of anxiety in the morning because I had nothing to do. And I think JSF at JFS and the counselors there have been instrumental in letting me see that I have a future and how to deal with it.
When we get to an age where many of us will have neurological difficulties and counseling may no longer help, nonverbal means of communication may. Music and Memory is an exciting, innovative project that uses iPod-based personalized playlists to reconnect elders, including those with dementia and other chronic illnesses, to the world around them through their favorite music.
My name is Michael Oren, and I was asked to provide Charlie and his wife and Kathleen, the daughter, with music of Charlie's choice.
This is an iPod, and I'm going to put it on your shirt. There is kind of a clips that can go on your shirt like this, but before I will also put earphones around your head and then connect it to the iPod, and we'll switch a button and you can listen to the music, and then afterwards I'll show you how to work it out yourself.
Well, instructions is what I need. I can tell that from here.
Right.
Do you believe all your music is on this small...
In that little bitty box?
All your music.
Okay, is that still...
I just want to tell you how important this is to him, because Mom is not the biggest fan of music because she has a real hearing deficiency, and this allows him to enter a world that is all his own, that he can enjoy, remember, and grow and become enthused about life.
Lady.
I work up in Park City one day a week as part of Jewish Family Service, and they have a partnership with the People's Health Clinic, and it allows us to see clients who come from the Peace House, which is a domestic violence shelter. So we're able to provide support for women who are in crisis. And that's how I came to know a client who I'll call Angela. One of the first things Angela said to me is, "This time I want to do it differently." And she followed that up with an amazing statement, which was, "For the first time, I feel truly safe." People can only begin to make change when they have things that make them feel safe. Angela had been in shelters for the last 2 years, and she had moved to the United States from the Ukraine and married, and been in an abusive situation with her partner, with her spouse, for 8 years. And not only had Angela been in a very abusive partnership with her husband, she also, growing up in the Ukraine, had witnessed her father beating her mother. And the first memory that she has, and it's of her mother throwing her out of their apartment window. They lived in the first floor, as her father banged on the door to break it down, and he had a gun in his hand. So her first memory is one of fleeing, and that pattern just continued throughout her life. She and I have been seeing each other weekly, and we talk about her past and work on what safety means for her. What can we do here so that when she is triggered, her response is not to flee this time, to not dive out the window, but instead to grow roots and find strength in community and in herself. And it's been amazing to be part of that process and to work for an agency that has been able to support her in that process. One of the things working with women in crisis is that they often arrive with nothing. She had no insurance, she had no financial resources, she had no transportation, no employment, and Jewish Family Service is able to see clients regardless of their financial status, how they identify, what their religious community is. And what I've found as I've worked with her is this incredible strength that she has inside her. And so over time, she's been able to find employment. She's now living on her own in an apartment. And really recently, she adopted a dog. And that is something that just makes my heart grow, because when somebody feels that they are able to care for something else, it shows where they are themselves, and where she is she feels safe.
We are a small community. It's not as if there's somebody else that will be supporting all the needs of the Jewish community if we don't do it ourselves. We're all that we have.
We first got involved with Jewish Family Services in the early 90s, where we helped resettle a Russian family.
For me, getting to know this family of Russian refugees gave me so much insight into what this Jewish community has given me. It's a village.
Well, I think we support Jewish Family Services out of a sense of obligation and an opportunity to help people, and more than anything, just an emotional sense that this is something we should be supporting, a good cause that we should be supporting.
I always think of the phrase, Lador Vador from generation to generation. And, you know, there were people before us that supported and sustained this organization. And I think we should support and sustain it for the next generation.
Jewish Family Services covers my needs for meeting other people's needs.
I've practiced law for close to 50 years. Part of that involved dealing with state social service agencies. Jewish Family Services could provide services for clients or friends, and were much more flexible in doing that.
I've been the past president of Jewish Family Services twice.
I served as president of Jewish Family Services between Ann's terms.